The just Lord is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning doth he bring his judgment to light. He faileth not. But the unjust knoweth no shame.
Breaking right now at 6:30, a local mother and daughter are now the victims in a deadly double shooting. It's happening in northwest Atlanta.
CBS 46's Trayson Bragg has been talking with police and gathering new information. He's at Grady Hospital right now. Trayson, what new information do you have for us?
Well, Gavir, I'll tell you, earlier this morning, several investigators were actually here at Grady Hospital hoping to learn more about this deadly double shooting. As for the 45-year-old mother, who was one of the two victims in the shooting, I'm told she's still here at Grady Hospital being treated. Now, I'm told that the double deadly shooting actually took place at Harwell Place apartment complex. That's in northwest Atlanta. It took place after two women who live at the complex got into some sort of argument yesterday. Now, investigators say one of the women who was involved in that argument actually went home and called a man who was not there at the time of the shooting. She told him what happened. That man actually showed up, or not there at the time of the fight, I should say. They say that man showed up, gun in hand, and he actually later found the other woman involved in that argument, a 30-year-old woman, and her 45-year-old mother, right around 1:30 this morning. And unfortunately, he shot both of the women. Both were rushed here to Grady Hospital. That 30-year-old woman was pronounced dead here at Grady. Again, her 45-year-old mother is still being treated here at the hospital. As for the shooter, investigators say he fled the scene. Senseless. Again, senseless.
Pastor Chris Simmons from Cornerstone Baptist Church was stunned when he heard about the violence across Dallas last night. Cleanup is underway at the Larry Johnson Rec Center in southeast Dallas on Dixon Circle after a 4th of July celebration ended in violence.
They just start shooting. We just heard shooting, everybody started running.
Kevin Carter's girlfriend was sitting in her car when it was shot out, shattering the back window. Her cousins, ages 13 and 15 years old, were shot and are in area hospitals. And then over on the 3000 block of Park Row, many were gathered and watching fireworks when one woman was shot and another man was shot in the head.
It's a dangerous neighborhood.
Around 11:15 last night, a celebration on the 8200 block of Town Street where 5 people were shot and 3 died.
We heard that he attended our church.
Then over on Gould Street, a 61-year-old man was shot and killed at this park.
Senseless. To realize a life was not any more valuable than $7. And of course, the shooter's life is now destroyed.
Simmons and other pastors have been sticking together and trying to make a difference.
To not allow violence to take place in the community and become incognito, but to really engage with the police.
The chief tells us the numbers from last year to this year are significantly down. In the meantime, he is asking the public, if you see something, say something. We're outside of Dallas Police Headquarters. I'm Molly Basu.
But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he hath done, and there is no respect of persons.
We begin with breaking news. Officers have been shot in the Morgan Park neighborhood.
Eric Rung is live in West Monterey with what we know so far. Good morning, Eric.
Good morning to you. We do know that there are multiple scenes that have police at them being investigated at this time. There's one at 119th and I-57. There's also this one here in front of the 22nd District of the Chicago Police Department. Here you can see a number of officers kind of standing around, and once this van here moves, you will see that there is a white car that has been encircled in red tape. Now, we do know officers have been shot because the Illinois State Police confirmed for us that they are assisting with officers being shot, but we do not know exactly how many officers were shot. We also do not know the severity of their wounds at this time or what agency they were with while this all was taking place. All of this happening just a short time ago, so a lot more information will be coming out here in the next several hours. We have a lot of phone calls in to the Chicago Police Department as well as the ATF, also the alderman for this area, to see if we can get more information and just exactly what happened here this morning. We will, of course, continue to update this story throughout the morning. We are live in Morgan Park. I'm Eric Rung, WGN News.
5:35 to a developing story. Part of the North Freeway is back open this morning after the death of a teenager.
Investigators say she jumped out of a moving car last night near FM 1960. KPRC 2's Vincent Crivelli joins us live from the scene with what led up to this tragedy. Vince?
Lisa, good morning. Detectives are still working out all the details in this deadly situation, but they do say that the mother and daughter had been arguing before this all unfolded. Overnight, a horrific situation on the North Freeway in Harris County. Investigators say while traveling in the car, a mother and her teenage daughter were arguing. Then for some reason, the teenager jumped out of the vehicle.
On arrival, deputies learned that a juvenile female was confirmed deceased.
Right now, detectives are trying to figure out why she exited her mother's car and what killed her. Investigators say they spoke with a witness driving behind the mother and daughter who swerved out of the way.
But we don't have a witness that can say that she was actually struck by a vehicle at this time.
O Lord, how long shall I cry, and thou wilt not hear? Even cry out unto thee of violence, and thou wilt not save. Why dost thou show me iniquity, and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that raise up strife and contention.
Also developing, the man accused of killing a father, mother, and their 6-year-old daughter last week, and also shooting their 10-year-old, who did survive, is facing a judge this morning. 28-year-old Xavier Davis is charged with 3 counts of capital murder and 1 count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
KPRC2's Vincent Crivelli joining us now live from downtown Houston with a look at what happened inside the courtroom. Vince, good morning.
Andy, good morning. Today's hearing was procedural in nature, but we did learn the next steps forward in this case. 28-year-old Xavier Davis is charged with 3 counts of capital murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. Davis is accused of killing a mother, father, and their 6-year-old daughter. Their 10-year-old daughter was also shot but survived by playing dead, but managed to call for help after the shooting. Davis's charges are spread out amongst different courts. However, right now they're in the process of being consolidated into the 209th District Court. That's the next step forward. Here's what prosecutors had to say.
So at this point, I'm going to let the public record speak for itself on the facts. We're still developing everything. We're still getting a lot of information in from the Houston Police Department. And so we can speak more on that later once we get more information in.
Despite a highly touted plan to fight crime for the 4th, at least 86 people have been shot, 14 of them fatally in Chicago during the long holiday weekend. Good afternoon. Thanks for checking in with us. I'm Ben Bradley.
And I'm Lourdes Duarte. Among those shot, 2 Chicago police officers who were breaking up a large crowd that had gathered on the city's far west side.
And kids were also the victims of violence. WGN's Tanya Francisco live at Comer Children's Hospital with more.
Yeah, in fact, Ben and Lourdes, 6 children were among those that were injured, fortunately, not killed, injured, and they were brought here to Comer Children's Hospital. This high level of gun violence this weekend has community activists calling for David Brown, the superintendent, to be fired. 21-year-old Victor Jones, identified by friends, was one of 2 people killed in a shooting on 61st and Wabash early Monday morning.
It's my understanding that it was a party. He was called out. His mom didn't want him to come out, you know, and he came anyway, this was the end result.
6 people in all were hit by gunfire, including 2 children, a 12-year-old girl and a 13-year-old boy.
It's always some gathering around here in this parking lot over here.
Apparently last night there were over 100 people hanging out celebrating the 4th when someone drove by and opened fire.
I don't know why it's like that in our community. When it's a gathering, it's a shooting. You can see the people having a great time, and next thing you know, everybody crying.
Since Friday evening, 86 people have been shot in Chicago. 14 are dead. Among the injured, several children. Sunday afternoon, a 5-year-old girl was shot on 117th and Parnell. Several hours later, not far from there, a 6-year-old and her mother were shot on 119th Street.
As we've seen too many times, tragically, someone else is being targeted, and the unintended target, innocent child, is struck.
Police Superintendent David Brown made those comments while checking on the condition of 2 of his officers, a commander and a sergeant. Both were shot on the west side in the Austin community on Washington and Long overnight. One was hit in the foot, the other in the upper thigh.
They were dispersing a crowd, and they heard shots, felt pain. Not sure if they were targeted or whether this was people celebrating shooting in the air or shooting indiscriminately and not targeting them.
Superintendent Brown, get out of town!
Community activists say they've had enough of the rising gun violence and are calling for Brown and Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot to go.
This superintendent keeps regurgitating the old playbook, expecting for different results.
If policing kept us safe, we would be the safest community in the country, and clearly we are not.
We asked each and every individual throughout all of our communities in Chicago to get on top of your aldermen and call for a no confidence vote in Superintendent Brown.
Other community activists are calling on elected officials to use the same approach that they used to eradicate, or I shouldn't say eradicate, but to attack COVID-19, to then use that approach and eradicate gun violence in Chicago. I'm live this afternoon in Hyde Park at Comer Children's Hospital. Tanya Francisco, WGN News.